All right, guys, we got to take a look at this, man. As you can see here on Metacritic, the user score for Madden 21 is 0.3. 0.3. I didn't even know that was possible. But guys, I don't look at everything at the surface. I don't just read headlines. I want to dive in and see exactly what some of these reviews are, just to see, if it lines up to some of the things that I dislike about Madden 21. But of course, before we do that, guys, I'm going to remind you to subscribe to the channel, cut on your notifications, and hit that like button. So let's dive in, guys. Let's go ahead and dive in. I'm going to read a few of these. Let's go ahead and click right here. And let's see what we can find out. Let's see. Let's go down. I'm going to scroll down just a bit. And it's funny because some of the names here I actually recognize. Let's see. I'm gonna try not to read, too many of the long ones. But what my point in doing this, guys, is again, I want to see what people are saying, because a lot of times, when people give feedback or they give their opinion on something, they don't really go into the meat and potatoes. They basically just, say something on a very high level, right? And it doesn't really give you a real explanation. Wow, look at this one. This one is super long, but let me read a few pieces of this one. It says, spoiler alert, this game sucks. I made a Metacritic account just to give this game a 0. See, there we go. But let's continue to read a little bit. Do you want to know how to play Madden 21 for free? Just continue to play Madden 20 and then play the yard on mobile. This game is a carbon copy aside of a few minor things and new abilities. Some elementary coding from the early to mid 2010s, animation and RNG based gameplay. All right, well, let's see what else is going on here. He says, right here it says, the forced chemistry between Tommy Matthews and your character is bad enough to make me want to be sick. The guy was a jerk the entire game, and then because he has a bad heart, you were forced to build some stupid friendship with him. Okay, so I guess he's talking about face of the franchise. All right, so he's not a fan of that. Let's see what else he says. EA monopolized the NFL simulation license and then makes a strictly arcade-based game mode. It's just weird to me. They should focus on fixing gameplay in their simulation modes before adding a backyard football mode. Okay, so it also says here the trade logic is ridiculously bad and gets boring after season 1 or 2. I can agree with that. He's talking about franchise mode. We all know, fix Madden franchise. But again, what is he really saying here? Okay, what's he really saying? So let me read this person's comment here. Same game as it was 5 years ago. Glitches everywhere. Disconnects online when I have an uber fast Ethernet connection. EA Games. Zero effort put into the game in the last half decade, and the entire business motto, are microtransactions for bums to beat you that don't even understand football. If I could give this game a negative rating, I would. NFL needs to drop EA so 2K can make this properly. Again, what does he dislike about the game? Let's continue to read. Awful game in the once great Madden series. The game is lacking features that were a staple of franchise back in the PlayStation 2 days. Yes, let's say that loud. I agree with this person wholeheartedly. The game is lacking franchise features, but I'm gonna say franchise because he said franchise. Lacking features that were a staple of franchise back in the PlayStation 2 days. That is sad, folks. We're talking about PlayStation 2 days when PlayStation 5 is on the brink of coming out. How crazy is that? He then says, sad to see the selfish greed of EA has taken a once great football game and turned it into a Madden Ultimate Team focused money pit for the few people that enjoy the poor excuse for a simulation football game. I get it. But again, what do you not like about the game? I want to hear what makes this game a 0. Here's another one. Terrible game. Another half, I'm not going to cuss here on my channel, but another half-a effort by EA. Just give up the license already and let 2K and other companies take a crack at it. Unfortunately, Madden is no longer the super fun game it used to be. It's just buggy and a trash game with, once again, no improvements. I need some meat and potatoes, folks. Now, let's read a guy here who says the game is a 10. See, because we're going to talk about this both ways. He said, it's a good game. I don't know why everyone is hating it. Okay. What makes it good? What makes it good? What makes the game good? Let's read this one. Honestly, I don't know how this game was released in this state. The gameplay for the most part is actually decent. Now, I'm actually going to agree with him there. The gameplay for the most part isn't bad. I mean, aside of the bugs and things like that, in the gameplay department, I don't think this game is the worst. I just don't. You know, maybe it's yet to be determined for me because I haven't played it a ton. But I kind of agree with that. But let's see what else he says. Not much has changed from previous years, but a few nice additions to the animations. Where the game really crashes with bugs and lack of improvements to franchise mode. Okay. The game constantly drops frames on a pro. And he says on a pro, I guess he's talking about a PS4. And rulings are completely wrong. Okay, I think he says where rulings are completely wrong. I think that's what he's trying to say. Most of the issues can be fixed with patches. However, the frame rate is that horrible at the moment, it makes it unplayable. I tried my hardest for 10 hours. Okay, so I think what he's referring to, guys, we've all seen the choppiness and the bugginess of the menus and things like that. I don't know what that is. I played some games offline and it was like that, and I played the next game and it's clean, and I play the next game and it's choppy again. I don't know what's going on with that. But again, I hope you guys are understanding what I'm doing here. I'm not really seeing detailed reasons why the game is so bad. You know, when you hear people like myself talk about what I don't like about the game, I go into specifics. That's all I'm looking for. So what I want to know is this a real reflection of the game? Or is this kind of pile on, like pile on effect? Like everyone is just piling on saying it's so bad, it's so bad. Great. Let's not miss that point. It's great that it's getting this negative feedback, right? Because it's the same reason why we want Fix Madden franchise to continue to be a theme. You want this to be in the face of those who are making the decisions. The only issue, and the only reason why I have cause to kind of pause a little bit here is we're not giving real feedback. Say exactly why the game is trash, not opinions in the terms of, well, I just don't like this mode. You understand what I'm saying, folks? We need it to be specific. Let's look at a few more, and then I'll give you some examples of what I mean by being specific. Let's look at some more here. Okay, this one here. Madden 20 is the worst Madden I've ever played. I'm a big mud guy, and I never seen how you got to spend $1,000 on this game to be competitive. Last year's game was bad, but you could compete with a team of you just grinding the game, and now since the meta is man coverage and speed, you literally can't win with the lower team. The gameplay is at its lowest point. What is that really saying, folks? I mean, he said Madden 20 there, and I think maybe he's referring to Madden 21, but do you understand what I'm saying? He's not really giving detailed reasons why the game sucks. And the reason why I'm saying that, people, is, again, you have to understand when you present this to somebody and say, okay, look, they don't like the game. The first thing they're going to do is say, well, what's wrong with it? Okay, the first time I ever went down to EA Sports, for a community event, I learned very quickly that you have to be specific. Just saying, oh, it sucks, that doesn't do anything. Tell them exactly what's wrong. Let's read one or two more, guys, and then let's see, let me find another one that might have some information in it. And then I'll give you some comments on what I mean. Like, look at this one. Flat out garbage. NFL drop EA. Do not waste your time. I'm going to return it and get Madden 18 for $1 at GameStop. Worth more than this. Now, see, this is where I would interject. Y'all know me. Y'all know my history with this thing, right? Madden 18 wasn't great either. Madden 18 was not a great game in terms of how I look at it, in terms of the things that I dislike about Madden football currently. So I don't understand I'm going to go back to Madden 18? Now, there may have been some things in 18 that you liked or you may have preferred, but again, remember, that was the first game that came on board with Frostbite. that game was buggy too. Like, that game was not the greatest. But I would love to know from this guy, well, what is it about that game that made it better than what you feel that you experienced in 21? Let me find one more comment, guys. And then I'm going to give you some information as far as what I think, the meat and potato things needs to be. Let's see. Here's another one. The bugs and glitches ruin the game. Also, the fact that it is super laggy online is awful. Mud squad shotgun formations will glitch you and make it so the QB can't move. An embarrassment of $1 billion company. Okay, now do you guys see what I'm saying here? Now I'll continue to scroll as I'm talking just to give you guys some visual, just so you can see, how bad this game is being rated. And again, let's not get lost in the fact that what I am trying to say, definitely, let's not miss this point. I like the fact that this is happening, because maybe it will just wake up some of the executives at EA and understand, okay, the community is not happy. Same thing we did with Fix Madden franchise, right? But the problem is if we are not loud and saying exactly what's wrong, I don't understand how that's going to change anything. You understand what I'm saying? Now, negative publicity is not good, right? But at the same time, you have to provide real reasons and real feedback. Now, let me explain to you guys what I mean by that. Look at all these zeros. This is wow. And I'm gonna be honest, they deserve it. They deserve this backlash. But I just would rather more people would have some more meat on the bone. Let me give you an example. What are the things that I dislike about Madden football? Primarily, you guys know I always talk about the lack of physics, meaning physics is not driving the outcome of situations. The game still heavily relies on two-man animation sequences. And I understand a lot of games do that, but Madden doesn't seem to replicate it as well as other games. That is one of the biggest problems I have with Madden currently, is that two-man animation sequences dictate way too much, and it overrides situations. It influences more dice rolls. It takes user control away. I feel like if you could fix that, if you could get it to where there's not these forced two-man animation sequences and you allow physics to play out on contact in all areas of the game, we're talking about a totally different game. And that's where I give a shout out to Maximum Football 2020. You guys saw the video that I posted in regards to them. They have the right idea. David Winters said, well, we don't have any canned animations for tackling. We have physics. We let physics handle that. This is what I'm talking about, folks. Now, of course, you should have some canned animation in terms of motion capture, but canned animations in the form of a sequence, I don't like that. That was what attracted me to Backbreaker years ago. And you guys remember me, if you were around back then, I was campaigning for Madden to get physics. They finally got it in Madden 13, and it just never materialized the way I thought it would, right? So that would be one example. Another example of things that I don't necessarily like in Madden football currently the way it is the AI. I feel like the AI at times is still too scripted. And we can just talk about one area. Let's talk about defensive coverage. There's still too many times where guys are just reacting to their assignment instead of reacting to what's happening in front of them. These players need to be diagnosing the situation. Am I saying they need to make every play? Absolutely not. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is what we once heard from a top dog at EA and Andrew Wilson when he advertised the Ignite engine way back in the day for Madden 25, and he said that these players will be making X amount of calculations per second, human-like intelligence. We've never seen that. We haven't seen that yet. I understand that you call it a certain defense, but the player should also react to what they see on the field. If nobody is in your area, look for work. If you are a deep safety and you're playing over the top, why are you continuing to drift and drift and drift when you see the route developing in front of you? React to it. Now, like I said, there are times that they do that a bit better in this game so far, but it's still mechanical. It's still scripted in terms of where they're going to drop. That's the same reason why the new drop zone mechanic works, which, you know, that has improved. It has helped you combat some things, but that's the reason why that mechanic works, because there's a lot of drop principles still in this game. Not nearly enough diagnosing that needs to be there. You understand what I'm saying? Little things like that. I'll give you one other thing. I want to see real player movement as close as it can get. And what I mean by that, has it improved over the years? Yes. In my opinion, Madden 21 is a little back to where I preferred it on this generation. You know, it seems like it's a combination between Madden 19 and maybe a little bit of Madden 25. I'm not sure, but I still want more fluidity. More fluidity. I would like to see it get to a point where every step is accounted for. No sliding, no gliding, no warping. You see what I'm saying, guys? You see how I've given real examples of what's wrong with the game. And not to mention franchise mode. I could be in this video all day saying what's wrong with franchise mode, and we already know that. We don't even have to go down that road in this video because we already know that collectively. We all know the features that are missing from franchise mode. But once again, that is pinpointing something specific. That is not this. EA continues to cheat sports-loving fans out of $60 with this blah, blah, blah. That ain't, what is that? You see what I'm saying? So again, I will finish this video by saying, listen, would I be lying to say I'm not a little bit happy to see this negative feedback? I sure would. If I was to sit here and say that I don't like what I see, I'd like this. Because again, as a community, your voice is your power. We saw it finally take effect with Fixed Madden franchise, and now with this whole NFL, you know, EA, NFL, or NFL drop EA hashtag, here's another stain against them. So you better believe that there's eyes on this. But all I ask, folks, give real specific reasons why the game isn't good. So those things can be addressed, because again, as of right now, the NFL and EA are in a contract for another, 5 years. So more than likely, this is the only quote unquote simulation NFL product that you're going to have. You know, 2K's situation is going to be non-simulation, though we hear, right? But like I said, let's read this one right here. I'll finish with this one. What a joke. Madden 21 has managed to make the coronavirus even worse. You hear this? Has managed to make coronavirus even worse. The game is absolutely terrible. It may be worse than the game previous with the weird intro and poor gameplay. NFL 2K, where are you? I hope you guys are seeing my point here. Yes, I'm on board with giving the negative feedback, and yes, I am excited to see that the score from users is 0.3. That is going to open some eyeballs. But how long the eyeballs stay open is dependent on the feedback that is being provided. And most of the stuff that you see here is not real feedback. Because the first question that people are gonna ask if you're at the executive level, well, what do they don't like? What's wrong? Y'all understand what I'm saying? So all I encourage people to do is give feedback in a very specific way, as well as voice your frustration, as well as saying why you think the game isn't good. All right? But that's all I got, man. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel, cut on your notifications, hit that like button. Catch you in the next one. Peace.